Hi, my name is Beth Hiley, here again for BoardGameGeek at Essen 2011. I'm sitting down with Andreas, who has brought us hopefully one that you can help me translate into English.
It's not die, it's die GulliPiratten.
Which, let me see if I can, that would be the
sewer pirates.
All right.
It are rats, it's not... so, it's down in the sewer. And there are different creatures like rats, snails, raccoons. There also is a snail and a cockroach. So they are not regular pirates, but they are looking for big treasures.
Oh, I love it when there's a joke right in the name of the game. Which, and just real quick before you get talking, I'm just going to let them see the box for a second, because there's a quite excellent picture on the front cover there. So before we talk a little bit about the rules and how to play, how many does this play and about how long does it take?
It's for 2 to 5 players, and in a family version you can do it in 30 minutes. And if you choose the hardest level, takes about 45 to 60 minutes.
And so you were telling me earlier that this is definitely more of a family-oriented game, so...
It's family plus. So
we like to hear that.
In Vienna we have a categorization of kids, family, friends and experts, and it's a game for friends.
Oh, I love it. All right, well, why don't you dive right in, because you said this was a pretty easy one to learn, so...
Yeah, well, actually, in your after those treasures, but the treasures, it's not gold or jewels. A rat puts no value into gold. So instead of gold and jewels, there are edibles like burgers and French fries.
And Chinese food. Oh, and magic ravioli. I love it. A doll who seems to be kidnapped.
Well, we'll come to that later. You can't eat dolls, but...
Yes, we have French fries, ketchup, scanning here, burger.
And basically it's a set collection game, so you are trying to get those tiles and you're trying to get valuable combinations. For instance, you see the French fries, ketchup go along well with French fries.
So I'm guessing
if you
maybe French fries and burgers too?
Well, yeah,
I'm jumping ahead of you, sorry.
Not quite. For a burger you need some drink to wash it down. And then you can also put your little burger queen crown on your head.
I like that you changed that to queen, by the way.
It is.
Oh, it is. Oh, fantastic. All right, well, so what does a turn look like?
Well, a turn is just a single action, and there are several options, but you only have one action in your turn. So it goes around the table pretty quickly. Each player has 4 of those pirates. They are plastic figurines, and they have exchangeable bases. So families, each of those pirates has a special ability, and in the family game you just forget the special abilities. One player picks all the cockroaches, another player picks all of those raccoons.
So you could just change all the bases, so you play the raccoon team.
Then if you want to use the special abilities to learn the powers and the weaknesses, it's good to start with a fair game, picking 4 at random, and everybody gets the same 4 creatures.
Oh, that's very clever.
But once you know who's strong, who's weak, then you can line them up, and then like at the schoolyard, you pick one, you pick another, and there is a bit of an auction at the beginning of the game, and then I could play with 2 raccoons and 2 cockroaches, and you could have a mixed set of snail, weasel,
there could be a whole game before the game, just deciding who your team is.
It's something like 10 to 15 minutes of pre-game selection. And also at the back of the boards there is a bar where you put those, and...
Oh, that's a nice detail.
When you're done with the initial selection, then you put back the board. So
then you get to start the game.
In the sewer system there are various channels, and downstream there are 3 streams, and in each stream there is a ship which will set sails to collect those treasures. You see 3 treasures and a bonus tile, and further up in the same channel you see what's coming down. And when those treasures are distributed, then the screen comes floating down and you put another set
so you
here.
can always see one set
Yeah,
ahead.
so you can plan ahead and you see, I like to have the doll, or, well, the parrot is very important for me, so I should try and get the cards which I need to get on board of this ship. So you need those talisman cards to board the ships. Another, picking 2 cards is one option, moving a pirate onto a ship is another option.
Okay.
And there's some sort of jumping over each other is saving you cards, but also costs actions. You can spend cards to move onto empty spaces, and each empty space is counted, but occupied spaces are not counted. So if there are already 2 figures on the ship, then it's easy for just one card to go very much to the front. And then also to the captain's spot, but there is a sail in between which you have to cross, and you only can do it if there is no empty spot between your pirate and the captain's spot. So he can become captain, but he cannot because he would first have to move here.
Okay.
But if he's here, he can move on.
Over. So he's got to be on the main ship here.
Yeah, well, this also belongs to the ship. There is a rope connecting the
little tugboat behind.
And well, there's a rubber crocodile and tires tied together.
I just realized what they were made out of.
It is a little bit damped down, but if you look carefully, you will find funny details. Like here on the
little rubber ducky tied to the side there. Oh, water bottles. Oh, yeah, I could stare at those
and
for
there's
hours.
what do you call Galionsfigur, the maiden at the
the figurehead.
Figurehead.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, sounds like our turn so far: draw cards or place a pirate. Is there anything else you can do on your
trying
turn?
to move onto the captain's spot, which has some restrictions. And then finally, if you are the captain, you have to wait for your next turn, and then you set sails, and then the treasures are distributed. And the captain gets the bonus tile plus first pick on the other treasures, and then the remaining treasures are distributed to the crew. So if he's here, he has second pick and third pick.
And if you were lucky enough to be the captain and everyone on that boat,
then you
get the whole thing.
everything. And if you take a treasure, you have to take the treasures and you bring them home. But if you don't get anything, if you're on the last spot, you don't get anything and you stay on board and move forward.
So you can move up.
For free. But it was your turn if you set sails and I moved. And afterwards, it's your left neighbor's turn.
Now, so let's talk a little bit, now that I've got some treasure, now how do I go about set collecting them? How does this earn me points?
Yeah, well, there are point values in circles are that many points, but point values in stars are worth nothing by itself. You need a matching card, like spicing up your noodles with peppers.
And these are color-coded too, that green matches with green,
exactly.
to help you know what goes together.
And the +4, it gives its bonus to each tile. So if you have 3 noodle tiles and one pepper, it's 3 times 4 bonus.
Oh.
So having a bonus tile, it's always worth collecting many matching treasure tiles.
So I can see why being the captain now is very advantageous, because that could be worth a lot of points.
For instance, you have here those tin cans, and the ravioli inside, they may be tasty, but they are inside. You can't eat them. So you need a can opener. But it's very moist down there in the sewers, so that is pretty rusty. And you open one can and it's broken, so it gives you those 14 points, but you can't open your second tin can. You need another opener.
But the ravioli by itself, if you can open it.
If you can't open it, you can't eat it, it's 0
points. But it's worth a lot. I mean, this, the Chinese food here, I see 4 or 5. The ravioli by itself is 12 points. So it makes sense why it's bonus.
It's the top, but you need to become captain at least once in order to score them.
So ravioli is a bit more of a risk, maybe.
there's even one can of caviar, and it's the most valuable.
Yeah, do you mind, can we just flip over some of these
Yeah,
to maybe see what a few other, let's see, we've got some baked
Most of them are face up already. There are teddy bears and dolls, which you can't eat, of course. But maybe if you have a parrot, then you can send out the parrot to bring all of your teddy bears or all of your dolls to kids to exchange them for some sweets, and then you can score them. So one parrot scores all of your teddy bears or all of your dolls.
Yeah, which looks to be anywhere between, that's 7 points, 9 points, so it's like 7, 8 or 9 points.
The fast food is at the bottom of the chain, with fries being the least valuable, noodles a bit more, and burgers, they are quite nutritious, so they are at the lower end in ascending order from fries to burgers. Then come the prisoners.
I know, they're all tied up and looking miserable. Particularly this one, who is also gagged. Poor thing. Now, you mentioned earlier, since this has such a wide range of scalable difficulty, and we do have a very experienced board game audience watching us. Could you maybe go into what some of the special powers are for each of these 4 different types of characters?
Well, there are 6 different characters all in all, and I have one set of characters which have been painted.
Yeah, so we're going to move our center ship here so we can show those off.
So here's the red. It's giving the game the name.
Hey Lincoln, could you zoom in on these for us? So we'll just kind of lay those down on their side there a little bit. Actually, I'm going to prop them up on my pen here. Now we'll do them on the ground.
Well, I can hold them up one by one.
All right, there they are. So these are beautiful, beautiful painted miniatures.
Well, I didn't paint them.
Well, whoever did, they did a good job. Now, are you guys selling these special ones?
Not yet planned. Maybe if it gets a big response and people are asking for it, they may consider. But up to now, you have to be skillful yourself or have an artsy friend.
I'll give you a copy of the game if you paint some minis for me.
So the red gives the name to the game, and it's a greedy creature. If he picks a treasure, he takes 2 treasure tiles.
So
particularly if he is the captain, he gets the captain's bonus tile, and then he picks 2 more treasures.
Which then would make less going to the other crew members.
Yeah, so there could be
get anything.
2 pirates who get nothing, and then 2 stay on board and move forward.
And move up. All right, so we'll move him to the side because we talked about him. So who's next?
Then there is the toad. Toad are slow, and if they are sitting somewhere, they don't want to move. So normally, if somebody sets sail and you're the pirate in the crew, you have to pick your share and go home.
Oh.
But the toad, he can say, no, I don't like those treasures. I stay on board because upstream there's something that I really long for.
So he can stick around for
He can stick around,
sailing.
and since he got nothing, he even moves 1 for free. If you're interested in the bonus tile on the next lump, then it's a good idea to put the toad on the 3rd space,
ready
because
to be captain.
Then when you set sail, my toad becomes captain.
All right, so who we got next?
There is the weasel. In German there's a wordplay because Wieseln, the verb for weasel, means moving very fast, and he's a fast fellow. He takes 2 actions if he wants to. So
I could draw cards and place.
No, both actions have to be with the weasel. So you could move onto the ship and then become captain immediately, which, especially if there are 2 pirates already here, you move him onto the ship, costs you 1 card, and then you move it on, costs you another card.
He does move very fast.
Or if he becomes the captain, he may set sails immediately.
Okay.
Which, if he's on a boat with very few people,
or
he moves on without a chance for the others to get on the ship. Because normally, if you're the captain, you wait your turn, and then the space you
they have a chance
left
to come on
free,
board. Yeah.
the other one will jump on it to get their share.
But he could set sail alone. All right.
So then the raccoon, he's a big tall guy, he yields a club. He's good to block the path. If you want to move over the raccoon, you have to pay one additional card matching the ship's talisman, but you have to pay to the owner of the raccoon.
Oh, so you have to bribe him.
Sort of. And then the raccoon has a matching card, and most likely he will jump over you again.
Whack you with his stick on the way. I really like that guy. All right, who's next?
Then we have the snail. It's a slimy creature. It lives on a track of slime, and that's sometimes a bit slippery. So if the crow, I said crawl because it says crawl, go home.
Yeah.
If the snail moves, you pay the normal movement costs, and afterwards you pick the topmost card from the draw pile and hope you draw the matching card, so the bird's skull in this case. No, this time I'm unlucky. It stays where I moved him. But if I pick, if I would have waited longer, I would have picked the bird's skull, and then he moves one more space.
So sliding on his slime.
Sliding on his slime. And if that space is occupied, he still slides and the other one topples and falls back. That's particularly nasty if you're the captain on a ship and you're hoping for your beak crashes and you already are hungry, and then the slimy snail comes and chases you off. Then you will have some friendly words for him.
And last one, the cockroach.
The cockroach, he doesn't care much about the gods, so he doesn't need that many talisman cards because they are for protecting your superstitious pirates to get onto the ships. And the cockroach, he pays one card less for each movement.
Does that mean he could possibly pay no cards?
Yeah, moving just one space is for free.
Fantastic. Well, I have to say this is just kind of a delightful take on a pirate game, and I love all the different levels in which you can scale this to be very quick, very light, and actually quite complex and quite strategic. So, Andreas, thank you so much for showing us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll pull that back up again just so we can see. So, for die
GulliPiratten.
There we go. Thank you again. I hope you do well at the show.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.